Hello, I'm Sean Stevenson of Belly Bite Lures, and in this video I wanted to talk about using the spiked weights in the unique Smelly Belly chamber. So you may think, well, that's nice and easy, put weight in the chamber, you're making the lure heavier, it will cast further, sink faster and swim deeper, and to some extent that is true, but there is actually quite a bit more involved in it than just that. So if you're new to belly bites, in each packet you get a few bits. You get a couple of spike weights, a 5/0 hook, a glow stick and a glass rattle. I'd always recommend trying the lures with just the weedless 5/0 hook. They were all designed to fish extremely well just with the weedless hook without any additives at all. Just the spike weights, etc., give you a lot more versatility. So once you've got the hang of how the lures swim as they are, then try experimenting with the spiked weights. It can make quite a big difference to how that lure performs. So for example, if I don't know, you were going out with a paddle tail, that 5/0 hook probably weighs a gram and a half, something like that, maybe 2 grams, and as it is, it will obviously sink nose first because of the weight of the hook. If you wanted a more level sink rate, then if you put the spiked weight in the rear of the chamber, you can obtain a far more level sink rate. So that's the same on all of them, and also where you put the weight affects how the lure swims, particularly on the pintail and the belly stick. So as it is, the pintail swims really nicely anyway, but if you put the small spiked weight in the rear of the chamber, it really it makes the swim action almost on steroids. It's quite remarkable, the difference. So definitely recommend giving that a go. And it's the same with the belly stick. If you put the spiked weight in the front of the chamber on the belly stick, which is here, which is about the center of the lure-ish, again, it will make that slalom action even wider. So that can make a big difference. And the other things you can do are, if you put the spiked weight, particularly on the belly stick, because the chamber goes right the way to the very back of the lure, if you put spike weight in the very back of here, it will actually tip the lure so that it's nose up slightly. Now what that means on the retrieve is that lure will come up to the surface far more readily, and you can almost fish it like a surface lure or a wake bait. And the same can be done to some extent with the pintail. In the kit I give you, there's 1.5 and a 1.1 gram spike weight because they're probably the most useful. But you can get some really beefy ones on the market. I think this one here is about 3 grams, 3.5 grams. And I've even tried that in the pintail, in the very rear of it. And what that will do is, again, it will make it swim with its nose almost coming out of the water. So there's a lot of things you can do with the spike weights that change the way the lure behaves. And actually it's quite a bit of fun just experimenting with it and getting them to swim how you want them to swim, so they're presenting the way you want them to present. Give them a go, see what you think. If you find something that particularly works for you and I've not mentioned it at all, I'm always keen to hear your thoughts as to what's working for you. I don't think it's worth me doing a video as to glow stick and a rattle. That's quite straightforward really. If you put a rattle in there, it's going to make a bit of noise. If you put a glow stick in there, the chamber's going to glow. So as far as that's concerned, it's quite simple. The only other thing I would say is, for example, if you wanted the pintail to fish a bit deeper and you've got quite a heavy belly weighted hook on there, what I find tends to work quite well is put the heavier spiked weight in the rear of the chamber. It seems to balance it out and you get a nice swimming action with the lure staying beneath the surface that little bit more. Anyway, hope that's some use to you. Thanks for listening. Thanks. Goodbye.